Hey, dispatch worker. Why did you go home before me? You have no manners even though you're a dispatch worker? Just because it's your first day here doesn't mean you can be lax. Reply to my text, dispatch worker. Good evening, Mr. Cobb. My name isn't dispatch worker, it's Jack Morrow. Who cares about that? I'm asking why you went home earlier than me. Are you underestimating us or something? Do you even have a will to work? Listen up, if you're going to work under me, then I'm going to have to be strict on you. Even if you are just a lowly dispatch worker. I'm not going to let you not take your work seriously. If I may, I think it can't be helped if a dispatch worker goes home earlier than the full-time employees. What? Do you think this job is a game or something? I intend to do my work properly, and I think I worked hard enough today as well. Then why did you disobey me and go home early? I told you not to go home before your superiors, but you didn't follow my orders. Besides, who said a dispatch worker like you could even have an opinion? It's not my opinion. I'm just talking about my terms of employment. Huh? Your terms of employment? There needs to be a regular employee with me while I'm doing work. Making part-time workers or dispatch workers do stuff on their own is banned. The only people who can lock the doors of the factories and the offices in this branch office are the full-time employees who have keys. The only 3 people left were me, you, and the part-time worker Miss Knox, so if you were to go home, then me and Miss Knox would have to go home as well, right? But if you do that, then there's going to be unfinished work. But isn't it going to be a problem if you just leave me in the office? Not only that, I'd like to correct you on a fundamental error in your logic. What is it? In the first place, I wasn't assigned to work in the factory. I was assigned to work in the office. What? Really? Yes, I was temporarily dispatched since the office was suddenly extremely low on staff because of people suddenly going on parental leave or having to be hospitalized. It was decided from the start that I would only be working here for 3 months until the employees return. Seriously? By the way, the only reason I did a bit of work in the factory today was because our managers thought that it would help with my work if I got to know how things were in the factories. I'm going to be doing desk work at the office from tomorrow, so you're not the one who's going to give me orders. The supervisor in the office is. Oh, is that so? Are we all right now? Oh, yeah, you can go now. Well then, goodbye. Huh, so you weren't one of my subordinates. I'm misleading. Hey, dispatch worker. My name is Jack, Mr. Cobb. It seems your dispatch period ends today, huh? Yes, thank you for having me. I mean, I guess it's only obvious for an impolite person who doesn't listen to what others say like you to be fired. What is it? There's no use trying to flatter me now, it's too late. I had told you on my first day of work, right? It was decided that my dispatch period would be for 3 months from the start. There was no plan of extending the period either, so it's not that I'm being fired. Oh, is that so? Again, thank you for having me. Goodbye. Wait, I thought that I had seen you somewhere before, but to think, you're Jack, right? The dispatch worker who was fired after 3 months 5 years ago? That reminds me. They were saying that several dispatch workers will be joining the factory workforce today. I see. This means that this time for sure you've been dispatched as one of my subordinates. Hold on, you're still living on that low salary of a dispatch worker after even 5 years? It seemed that you were quite the useless worker. It looks like it's almost time for the morning assembly. I heard that some high-ranking person from a new department at the company headquarters is going to be visiting today. I'm going to show the people in the main company how competent I am, and at the same time, show you how things are going to be around here as your boss. Why did you punch me as soon as the morning assembly started? It's only natural that useless low-ranking employees like you get punched. Work your ass off today as well. It seems you still don't understand the position you're in. Huh? Why don't you think about this carefully? No matter what the reason is, punching someone will cause a huge commotion. Don't you think that under regular circumstances you would have been subdued on the spot? No one stopped me because everyone knows that my style of education is flawless and correct. No, the reason no one stopped you even though you punched me is because I had told everyone prior not to lay their hands on you until I say so. What? Now, I saw the text you sent me before this morning assembly. That's when I remembered that there were rumors about you going about in the company headquarters, but how you weren't doing well with your employees' relationships. And so I decided to not say anything and see how you would behave. I'm going to send this conversation to HQ. I kindly ask for your cooperation. Huh? Why are you talking as if you're the one heading the morning assembly? You're just a dispatch worker. I see. So you really haven't noticed yet. What is it? I came from the company headquarters. You came from HQ? Yes, I am now a full-time employee who works at HQ. By the way, I'm also the head of compliance starting from this year. What? I'll answer your questions in detail later. It looks like the swelling on my cheek is quite serious, so I'm going to go to the clinic. Hey, hold on! Since when were you a full-time employee who worked at HQ? Hey, you should be home by now, right? What's the meaning of this? Explain it to me right now. It means that you're banned from coming to work. Yes, it was really tough for me after that, you know. Immediately after I finished texting you, I was called by the head of this branch office and told not to come to work anymore. All I did was try to teach you your place as a lowly, useless dispatch worker. Why are you now the head of a new department at HQ? It's only been 5 years. When did all this happen? Well, it happened 5 years ago. While I was working here as a dispatch worker for 3 months, I noticed that the work done on computers in this branch office is quite inefficient. So I did as much as I could as a dispatch worker to optimize the speed of work. The head of this branch office and even people from HQ noticed what I had done, and they were kind enough to give me a job at HQ as a full-time employee. But even still, how were you able to become a department head in only 5 years? As regards to that, I'm not the only one. 2 years ago, I was invited to be one of the founding members of the new department, and the head of this new department was an employee aged 34. Huh? The head was the same age as me? It might look like he was promoted to a high position at an extremely young age when you compare it to the rest of the company. But the average age of this new department was 28. Considering this, I think you'll find it more believable that I was eventually chosen to become the head at the age of 30. Seriously? Well, there's really no point in me talking about my job, so I'll stop talking about this topic. What I wanted to talk about is how you suddenly punched me, who came from HQ to see how things were going here during today's morning assembly. I didn't know. I heard that new dispatch workers will be joining the factory workforce today, and that's when I saw you, so I assumed that you were here as a dispatch worker again. But I heard that the new dispatch workers would be coming tomorrow. What? It seems you didn't know the company's schedule, but that's not the point. No matter who the other person is, and no matter what your positions are, punching someone in the face is most of the time frowned upon. I just had a little misunderstanding. Don't you think we need to take that into consideration? Even if I were a dispatch worker, punching me in the face would have been a serious offense. It's not as if you were protecting yourself as well. You obviously just suddenly punched me. That's the reason you're being punished. Come on, I'm begging you. I'm about to get married. You're getting married? I plan on proposing to her soon. And my girlfriend is waiting for me to propose to her as well. You got a girlfriend? You know her as well, right? It's Miss Knox, the part-time worker from the office. What? Ms. Knox? But I was suddenly told not to come to work, so... if I may. I want to find happiness with her. But Ms. Knox is the wife of the factory head's son, didn't you know? What? It seems that she goes by her maiden name, Knox, while at the company. You're lying. Her husband is an employee at HQ, so I know him. They have a child who's turning 10 this year, if I remember correctly. No way, that's impossible. But Miss Knox comes to meet me every morning. Miss Knox is in charge of handing out the things that came with delivery to each department, right? Of course she comes to the factory every day. During lunch break too, she brings me lunch boxes to make herself look good as a wife. But I heard that her husband was in charge of making their lunch boxes. It seems that there's one more thing that we need to investigate. Hold on. I'm going to report this to HQ. Don't do this, please. Sorry, but the cheek which you punched still stings, so... I have bigger problems. Goodbye. I'm impressed someone like him was able to become the manager. But it seems like he was fairly competent at his actual work, which is why he was promoted in the first place. That being said, though, luckily I wasn't seriously injured when Mr. Cobb punched me in the face. But obviously I couldn't just let it go, so I filed a report on him. Ms. Knox, who he had apparently been stalking, filed a report on him as well. We have no intention of settling this outside of court with him. After the whole debacle, Mr. Cobb was now in possession of a criminal record and was fired from the company. He used all the money he had saved up to pay for the alimonies, which were massive. Me and Ms. Knox had asked from him, and he was forced to start over from scratch. No, it was even worse than starting over from scratch for him, as he was now in the possession of a criminal record. Unless he does something about how he treats other people, I doubt he'll be able to live a happy life in the future.